like you to give a round of applause to Rev Tress Phillips as she comes up and dazzles us with Seeing with Spiritual Eyes.
Am I wired for sound? Wow. Away we go here. Well, I'm not sure it just might. It's been a beautiful morning today. And I already spilled the beans a little bit, but coming up the hill here, here's a deer gonna cross the road. And I'm thinking, oh, nothing like the deer, the animals. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, if there's one, there's probably more. And then I'm looking on the other side, just below the apartments at the top of the hill, and there are 3 more deer there. It was beautiful. What a beautiful good morning, Tress, that I had. So, what about your good morning today? I hope you are having one, and if you're not, well, you got the whole day left to get it all cooked up, to have a wonderful day. So, what I wanted to talk about was, I went into our computer room, and I was having a moment where I really needed to connect to the divine, to the purpose of my being, who I am, my hope going on. So I was saying in my mind, divine mind, God essence, universal mind, and we all have our own words, and they're all okay. What is your vision for me? And I came into our computer room and I saw on this wall, and on this wall, a quilt on each side. Now they're not just any quilt, because what I was drawn to were quilts made by family members, just for me, for 2 separate occasions. And they had on them hearts on each one, and I felt the love. There were animals, because they knew I loved animals. There were flowers, because they know I love nature. But what my message was, the calm that they brought me. You see, these quilts represented love to me. And that's really what I needed at that time. And I came into there with, I've talked about it a lot, the monkey brain. Well, this just kind of chased that monkey brain away, and it calmed me right down. Because my model has been for many, many years, everywhere I look, I see the face of God, or divine mind, universal mind. Everywhere is a representation of that universal love, that divine, creative energy. We are in human forms, but they're in the animals and the plants and everything. So some of the gifts we have are the people that come to us. We might not always see them as gifts, but that doesn't really matter. They are still teaching us a way on our journey to life as we are teaching others. There was a few years ago that I really needed to see the mountains. Like, I needed to see the mountains. And people who know me know that one of my things I really do not like to do, and I'll fight this with all my strength and all my heart and everything. Don't tell me to go to bed. I do not want to go to bed. And don't tell me I get up too early, because I do not like to sleep, because I might miss something. Now, whatever it is I might miss, I'm not sure, but I gotta keep doing this in case I'm missing something, but it's just part of the way I am. Well, one of these glorious I don't need and can't sleep nights, not only did I think I needed to go to the mountains, I decided I need to go to the mountains. So at 5 in the morning, I went online and I booked a hotel in Canmore. And I booked that hotel for like 3 days, 4 days, I'm not sure. Did the credit card, got it going. And the fellow I am married to, he gets up out of bed. Oh yeah, there she is again. And I said, guess what? I am going to Canmore today. I booked the hotel and I'm going all by myself. And he's going, and I did. I got in my car and I drove all the way. I stopped at one of the places and I had some A&W breakfast, and then away I went. I drove all the way, and it was one of those windy days to drive. And I had to put my pedal to the metal, like just to fight the wind. And I think I used up almost a tank of gas because the wind was so strong. But I got into that hotel. And it's one of my favorite ones because it has, the train goes right by it, and I always say, I want the side where the train is, and people probably think I'm crazy, but I grew up next to a train, so I knew that would be comforting. I knew the mountains would be comforting, but I really needed that. So what is it in our life we really need? Maybe you don't have to be so drastic. You go and do it 5 in the morning and surprise your family and say, guess what I'm doing? And you can't do a thing about it because I need this. But that's what I did. And I was drawn to something. When I was at the Canmore looking out, I could see the community center, I believe it was, out the window. So I kind of went around and looked around with my car, what can I see? And I stopped at this community center, and they had a quilt show. Beautiful quilts hanging all over. And I was drawn to a specific quilt. It just kind of sucked me over there, and it was old. The lady had started that quilt well over 100 years ago, and she had passed away and it was not finished. And another woman decided to honor her and finish making that quilt. So it was lovingly made, but I learned things about the quilts when I was there. The ladies were talking to me. And I found out that quilts are not just quilts. Quilts are maps. They're storytellers. They're saviors. Now, how does that work? Well, the history of some of the quilting patterns was during the time when people were enslaved down south and they were trying to move to freedom. They would hang the quilts on a clothesline or on a porch where you had the fence around it or in a windowsill. And they would have things like flying geese. The direction that the geese were flying in the quilt would show this is the safe pathway. The log cabin design, that showed the people, this is a safe house. You can speak to the people here. So see, it was all about saving mankind, about loving one another, about making the world a better place. And the language was through a quilt. So how many languages, how many messages are we seeing? Like right on here, this is almost like a quilt. And even though it's covered with a plant, behind is a message, underneath is a message. All around are messages for us to pick up on our wonderful journey of life. You see, love for one another is timeless. We had a special note. I had a special little, it was just a piece of paper that someone wrote a note, made it into a card, and they put it in our mailbox. Now, the note that this person wrote said, relationships create the fabric of our lives. They are the fibers that weave all things together. And that was written by Eden Fruist. Now, the note was put in our mailbox by our postal lady. And she was moving locations. And it was her way. She had a little letter in the inside that was, thank you for being part of my postal family. Now, she didn't have to do that. And I know the situation's a little different right now with all of the mail. But the love, she saw us as a community. And we as a center here are a community. We all bring our own special little pieces to make the tapestry of this center. So some of us might be flashing bright red and some of us a calm blue or whatever, but we are all an integral part of a community here called the Center for Spiritual Living. And it's always added to when new people come, and then there's a remembrance of the people that have gone. In fact, I saw one of the ladies who started the idea of this center. I saw her on Friday night, and I said, you know who I am? She looks at me. I knew her name. I said, well, I kind of got old. I said, I'm Tress Phillips. Well, she was one of the people who invited Reverend Doug to come down here to start the center. Imagine that. And I got to see her, and we got to talk. And it was wonderful. She asked, how is the center doing? And I told her, it's just great. We have wonderful people. And it's still going. And I'm one of the ministers, and she didn't even know that. So that was nice. You see, connection comes in many forms. And family comes through and is recognized when we see with our spiritual eyes. We see the oneness of one another, the goodness of one another. But you see, sometimes things happen, and we allow our fears to get in the way and cloud our vision. And I don't like to hear this, but it is so true. Worry is prayer. What you're thinking about, what you're talking about, what you're giving attention to, either good, either bad, it is what the divine energy expresses through. Oh, I'm worried about yada, 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 yada. Oh, no. Well, guess what comes showing up on my doorstep is yada, 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 yada. Everything I didn't want, I'm just saying like, hello, come on into my life. Excuse my thinking, but I didn't really want to invite you in, but I just had to worry about that. So do I need to look at things in my life? What am I doing? Am I worrying about something? Well, I I am, and I still am. And I've had an experience, and I didn't want to talk about it, but I had to talk about it because it made me mad as heck, and I didn't know what to do about it. For 2 weeks in a row, I've felt fear, frustration, and anger. I saw an accident almost happen, and it was one of the scooters going up the hill, and a car gonna turn out, and we went past it, and I thought, I think that girl is going up so fast, gonna go through the green light on her scooter, and there's a car gonna turn, and he has all of the vote for you to whoever are there. And I look in the rear view mirror, and what do I see? That car had stopped at the top of the hill. Person's getting out of the car, and that girl must have ran right into that scooter. Well, I was upset about that. So we're coming home from the bank, and we're coming through the pines to go on to 67th Street yesterday. And right in front of my face, and the light is red this way, and the light is green for us to go forward. I saw the lady go forward to turn. I saw 2 scooters with kids on them zoom right through the red light, and the woman kind of they hit her, and they fell off their bikes, and she had to go through and then come back, see how everybody's doing. And I honestly was so angry. I wanted to go up with my granny voice and say, what were you thinking about? Like, what is wrong with you? And yeah, but the thing is, I had no control. I saw something I had no control over. And yet I felt sick to my stomach. Well, this is what I had to get over when I went into the room and saw the quilts. But I think there's times in our lives when we have something that we have connected with that has kind of upset us. There might be something right now that is upsetting us. Well, I think it's time to just kind of address it. So I would like, if you wish, to just be quiet and still and just relax and just be and just know that we are not responsible for how others act. If there is anything that you may be blaming yourself for, yet has nothing to do with you, just time to let it go. Let it go. Any thoughts that are in the way of seeing the pure joy of the divine in your life, let it go. Divine mind takes care of all. And each have their own life to live. But feel the love for the universe. See the beauty of all. And know that each person has their own divine journey. And let go of any feelings that stand in the way of feeling the goodness. When We realize that we are not responsible for others. We are not the boss of the world, and oh my goodness, I'd love to be the boss of the world. Well, they'd probably crumble, but it is divine mind works through each other, and we can only be responsible for how we think, how we act. There are times we need healing. And I know for me that was a time I needed to just let go. And instead, honor the divine within me and allow myself to transform. Because every time someone transforms, they make a ripple effect in the world. They make it a better place. It's like throwing the pebble in the water. It's how your thoughts go out and reach out to all. So believe in love. Believe in who you are. Know that you are a creation. But it's not you alone. You're the divine within you. There's a spirit back of all life. And that's divine mind God. You're bigger than you think you are. And I can remember as a little kid someone saying, "Oh, you think you're too big for your britches, don't you?" Well, start thinking you're too big for your britches, because you are. You are the creative divine mind energy in, as, and through everything that you do. In Dr. Holmes' writing, he said, there is a spirit back of all expression, and that's divine mind God. And this is the meaning of the Bible verse. In him we live, move, and have our being. Acts 17:28. Well, your life, you are expressing the divine. So the creative energy through us creating all things, it's not just for our benefit, it is for the benefit of all life. Every moment we live is a new experience of life. And when we ask for anything, we are to believe that we have it. Ask and you shall receive. Seek and you shall find. Knock, the door shall be open. Use spiritual mind treatment. I know I am healthy now. I know that the divine energy is in, as, and through me every second of the day. And I know as I ask, divine works through me, expresses as me. And I give thanks for my life. When was the last time you gave thanks for your life? Well, how about doing it today? Maybe for a little thing, maybe for a big thing. And I'll tell you, I bet you there's times that you're just glad that you made it through whatever that event was that happened to you. Maybe it was an almost car accident, whatever the event was, and you think, oh my God, I made it through that one. Well, give thanks. Because by you making it through that, you made it a better day. Imagine how empty the world would be. Imagine that beautiful quilt, but there's one piece missing, and that's you. How empty that quilt would be. The quilt of life, the quilt of your family, the quilt of this church, and you are not here. Recognize your importance and recognize that the divine energy works through you. There's one thing that was written by Dr. Holmes, and it was There is one universal present intelligence mind that is in all things, and all things are expressions of the one presence. Every person, tree, rock, every particle of energy that exists is an expression of the one presence. So right now we are in the season of change, with the trees changing, the weather changing, like it was darn cold this morning. We had to scrape the window. But it's just the wonder of life, because we are all changing. So the snow comes in winter. Well, look at this. I used to have black hair. Look what happened to that. I got a little snow on the top of my head. But I'm not dead yet. So that's our life. We are surrounded and immersed in infinite good, always. And how much infinite good is ours? All of it. We just have to claim it. Knock on that door. I'm worthy. I'm doing this. Hubby, I am going to the mountains for 3 days, and nothing is going to stop me. And it didn't. And I was so thrilled. So, I just know for you, and I know for me, that we are all part of that glorious, glorious pattern of life. And that this center is so important. And I know, and I'm coming from the heart, that this, not the center, but the belief that within you is a divine energy that nothing can stop. And like I read the Science of Mind book from Dr. Holmes, and I learned, and it was weird language, it was so, but then I realized, you know what? Everything he's told me in here about I am worthy, that divine mind is in me, that nothing can stop me, that there's no yesterday or tomorrow, we're all one time. I realized I already knew everything he's talking about. I already knew it. It just took those words to kind of say, hello, this is how it, and I knew it. From the time we were little kids, we knew we were good. And then came all the reasons people told us we were, but when we were little, we knew. Well, guess what? Become little again and know how worthy you are, how good you are, that nothing can stop you, and that you're not the boss of me. Well, that's your motto today. And you're one of a beautiful, beautiful quilt of life. So I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for being you. And I want to just say, all right, world, look out, and here we come. And so it is.